My name is Tim Evans. I went to Rancho Bernardo High School here in San Diego, and I just graduated this past year. And I'll be attending Duke University this fall in the class of 2014. I would go with Rob again and again and again. I'll be back for grad school. The biggest endorsement I can give is that my little brother's going to be signing up with you when it's time for him, and you would be amazed at how helpful you were. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten through it without you. I mean, I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but you were the secret to my success, and I really believe that. You gave a presentation at the Princeton Review, a free one that was dealing with the U.S. News and World Report ranking. So you weren't even talking about Passport, and it was so interesting, and I had such a good time at a college presentation, which sounds really bad, but I thought it was so cool that I wanted to take you home with me and keep asking you questions. And you didn't say one word about Passport the whole time, and you'd already signed me up as a client. He's like, I was ready to tackle the college admissions process. And funnily enough, it was only when I started doing all that research, thinking I was going to tackle it on my own, when I realized how much I didn't know. It's just not like you can practice for the SAT with a book. You can't know these things without actually practicing them with someone who had been there. I think the single biggest thing was just the feeling of support. Reassuring to know that I had someone that I could send an email when I was sweating at, midnight the night before an essay was due or something. I was really shocked at how much I valued that kind of support when I thought that I had it so under control. That was the biggest thing for me. I never would have thought like, oh yeah, I would have needed help through the admissions process or whatever. My top three were University of Pennsylvania for the Wharton School, Duke, and probably any of the Ivies both throughout Harvard. I think probably me more so than other people. I really knew what I wanted going in. I don't think my list of schools changed too much, very slightly, but I felt like I had a good combination of reach, match, and safety, if we're going to throw out those terms, and when I was done applying, I felt like I'd really covered my base as well. Sal is the sweetest person I've ever met. She would bring me brownies every time before we started working, and when I told her where I was going, she asked me for my mailing address so she could send me more brownies. And what Sal did for me was, between her and you a little bit as well, was ask me the questions to elicit the anecdotes. I've always been a pretty good writer as far as school stuff goes, and I think I was probably still, pretty good coming into the college writing thing, but what I realized with mostly through the workshops and stuff is that college essay writing is a completely different genre than any other type of writing. And just like you'd work on a research essay or creative writing, you have to practice working on college essay type writing. No matter how boring you think you are, you have something worth writing about, and when you can find out what that is, and you draw it out, and you build on it, and you put your own voice into it, and then you just revise it, make it perfect, you'd be surprised at what you can actually come up with. I think everyone has a story that, I wrote about a couple of things that I don't think I would have written about had I been on my own. For Princeton, we wrote about how I consider myself a fantastic driver. I love cars, and I hit a parked car. And that was a pretty good essay, I think. And I would never have written about hitting a parked car. My ego couldn't take that, but it's like one of those little stories that, when you draw it out, it ended up being really good. The workshops were really fun and really informative. I'm still friends with a couple of the people that I met in the workshops, and some of the things we did that I never would have done is like reading actual admissions profiles and trying to decide, okay, here's 5 kids, we have to pick one of them, what would we go with and why? And it's looking at it from an entirely new perspective, from the perspective of the admissions officer. I think you and I got along pretty well. I think we've got similar senses of humor, and I looked forward to coming in and working with you. Every time we had a meeting, I did not dread doing my college stuff. I looked forward to attacking it with you, the ways we had talked about, and every time we hang out, it's fun. It's not all about, working 100% of the time. I feel like for me, I had a great high school experience, got into a great school, and I was able to have a lot of fun while doing it.